What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Deep Sky Dan. It is finally time for part 2 of Jupiter opposition video processing. Alright, I'm excited. I hope everybody out there was able to get outside, get your own video on Jupiter. Now I'm going to be using mine from opposition back in September. Now I've already produced this video and created an image, and it is my best Jupiter image to date. I've tried to do Jupiter so many times, but the clouds and clarity and seeing conditions, the atmosphere, everything plays a huge part in getting a nice image, and it all finally came together for me, and I'm excited. And I'm going to show you how to process your video today, and we're going to use 2 programs that are free to download and use, and anything in astrophotography that is free is good. Oh, I'm excited. I hope you are too. Let's get going and do some processing on Jupiter. Alright, here we go. Let's get started. Now, if you're looking at my laptop screen here, you're going to see this big, beautiful galaxy. This is the Fireworks Galaxy NGC 6946. This is my most recent galaxy image that I was able to do. I acquired this data last month in October, and I was able to process out this beautiful galaxy. This is 5 hours of data. My absolute best galaxy that I've done, the cleanest. The stars look great. I'm super proud of this galaxy. This is what's possible with smartphone ASTRO, and if you have higher quality gear, you can get these types of images. It took me a lot of time to get to this point, but this can be done. Never stop trying, guys. Alright, but let's get started on Jupiter. Now, the first piece of software that we're going to be using is PIPP, Planetary Image Preprocessor. This is free to download and free to use if you don't already know about it. So I will open that. Once you open it, you're going to get this box, and from here all we want to do is bring up where our video is. Let's see, I don't need that. I can delete that. So this is from my cell phone here, and I will move this around to, there we go. Alright, so this is from my Galaxy S10 Plus. This is the video. Now I've done some pre-editing on this video. In the video editor, I've adjusted the colors because I was using an LPro filter, which makes it really blue. So I went in and tried to adjust the color balance a little bit in there, but really simple. From here, all we have to do is just drag and drop this into here, and then once it opens like this, we're going to select planetary down here in the green box. This is important. That's what we're going to be doing, planetary. Now you can move these around however you choose, completely up to you. So from this point, here is our image, our video from our phone. Now you can also see I've got Europa in there, one of the moons. Now this is the information. You can see the date it was taken, the type of video, how many frames are frames per second, the size. This is not the date that I actually took it. This is the date I modified it, and then some other information, the file size here. So at this point, we're going to move from left to right. Next, we're going to go to input options here, and really there's not much to touch in here. Just make sure Debayer raw image files is checked. It should already be, but if it's not, make sure to check that. At this point, come over here to processing options. Now in processing options, we have these greens that we really want to focus on. That's why they're in green. Planetary object and planetary is already checked. This should be checked, checked, and enable cropping. We definitely want to change the cropping on here. We want to make this as tight as possible. Otherwise, you're going to have a large output file. I believe mine was like 16 or 17, but that's because I kept Europa in the video. But we're not going to use Europa this time, so I'm going to crop it. So here's what we're going to do. First, you can see we're at 448. Actually, let me test that and just see what happens. 448 should be really tight. Yeah, that's not what we want. So let's see. Let's back that back out. Let's go to maybe, let's do 1,000 each and make this much wider. And then go ahead, click Test Options. And you can see, okay, that's not too bad, but I can actually make that much tighter. Let's go down into maybe 750 on each, and let's see what that looks like. 750. I want to make this as tight as possible, otherwise it's going to use a lot of data in the output file. So be really careful about your storage, how much storage you have on your PC. Oh yeah, that looks a ton better. Now, I used Europa in one of my videos, so Europa's way out here, so mine was obviously much wider, and I used a lot more data. So that looks pretty good. That's about right. You want to keep something like about that. Alright, so now we got that taken care of. Next, quality options, and yes, click on Enable Quality Estimation. This is going to check all of our frames and sort them from best to worst. Make sure that is checked, and we're going to keep the best 1200 frames. You can change that if you want, but we'll keep it at the normal standard there. Don't touch anything else here. Now, there is one other option you have here, quality weighing. Enable quality weighing. If you click on this, it can actually help the quality of your image, and I use this quite a bit in my planetary. It actually smooths out between pixel to pixel. Especially for smartphone Astro, this can really help your images, and I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to use this, and you can experiment with it. If you have really good data, say from a DSLR or an AstroCam, you most likely won't need to use this, but we're using smartphone data, so any little bit helps. Now you can experiment back and forth and see, but I've always gotten really good results with this, so I'm going to go ahead and click it and use it. And even though this video is pretty good quality, I still want to use this anyway. It's going to help me in my final outcome. So alright, animation is next. We aren't doing anything in here. Don't touch anything there. Output options. Now, important here, if it's on TIFF, make sure you change it over to AVI. TIFF will give us an output of 1200 images, all separate images, and we don't want that. AVI will put all those images to one, kind of like a movie video, and it'll keep everything together in one area, and that's what we want. So I recommend using AVI for these. Very easy to use and store on your PC. Alright, so now that we've got that done, you don't need to do anything else in here. As far as it should all be standard. Do processing is the last one. Once you click on this, you're going to see this is going to be your box. It's going to show you everything going on in here. Now, open output folder when complete. You can click on this, and it will open the finished image, stacked image into the folder where it is down here. It will open it automatically so you can see it. So now, if I click on Start Processing, you can see it's going to go ahead and start to process this one video, and you can see it's processing 3,692 frames, and it's going to show me the percentage completed. And once this gets to 100% here, it's going to go down into the sorting, where it's going to sort the best frames to the worst frames from best to worst, and it's going to show you the percentage completed. Now, I've already done this, so I'm not going to sit here and go through this any longer with you guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually cancel it because I already have this video done. Now you can see it brought up a new PIPP folder here. That was from what I just started, so I'm going to actually go ahead and delete that, and I'm actually going to close this out. So this could take anywhere depending on your video or how many you use. I'm using just one, so it's relatively short time, 5, 10, it could be 15 minutes. It depends on your laptop, your home PC, how fast GPUs, CPUs, and RAM on your PC. So just be aware of that. I'm going to close that. We don't need that anymore. So here is my output image PIPP folder. You can see, and I've already gone ahead and done this before, and it's going to spit out this AVI, PIPP AVI, and you can see if I hover over it, it's 16.9 gigs. That's quite a big file. So make sure you have plenty of space or an external hard drive that you're using to store these files. I've got 1 terabyte on my laptop and I'm full of files, so I have to be really careful. Now, from here, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and process this. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is come into here and show you guys AstroSurface. This is an awesome program, something new that I've been using within the past few months. Normally, I'm using AutoStacker 3 and Registack 6. This is pretty much the norm in planetary processing. Most people use these, and I've experimented with both of them on the same images, and to be honest, I actually like AstroSurface a little better. The interface and just having everything all into one piece of software is really nice. So that's what we're using today, AstroSurface. Well, let's go ahead and open AstroSurface. Now, from here, AstroSurface, once it opens, this is the interface that you're going to get. If you could just post it, you can just go ahead and close that out. Now, we want to load that video, and I'm going to come over here to Files and open File Sarah AVI. Click on that, and it's going to bring up wherever your file is. You have to find it. But here is mine, my PIPP AVI. Let's open that. Now you can move these boxes around anywhere. Now you can see there is Europa, the moon Europa, and you can see just how big of a file this actually is, this size here. That's pretty big. The other one, if we'd done it, would be much smaller. It wouldn't be less size. So now with this box here, basically there's not a whole lot to do here in the beginning. Just make sure it is RGB colors. If you get some other ones, these are bare patterns. We are on RGB, which it shows that for me, so that is fine. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to register this, and we get this box to come up. Now basically we have 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes here. You can see they're labeled 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sorry, there's 5. Anyway, we are on 1. 1 gives us stability. So what this is going to do is this is just we're selecting the target, and you can see we want to hit detect here. Click on detect. It brings up this pink box. Now from here you actually have to come over to the planet and double click left on it, and you'll get this green box. This is picking a kind of reference points to use, not so much reference points, but like a reference image. And next thing I want to do is I want to bring up this graph here, and this is going to bring kind of a quality estimation graph after it goes through all the images and sorts them. So I'm not going to touch anything else on here. I'm going to leave it as it is. So we've already been through 1. We detected that we're on a planet. Now we're here down to, we've got our graph chosen, and number 2, we're going to analyze it. Now this first analyzation is just kind of going to check through all the images, and you can see down here the progress bar in yellow. It will go through, and you can see it's relatively quick on my PC. I'm sure if you have much more RAM on your PC, it's going to whip right through there. But it's not too bad on my PC. It goes pretty quick. So it's actually analyzing all those images, and it's going to sort them in the end from best to worst. But there is one more point that we have to go through here once this finishes, and this should be just about done here. Alright, just about finished, and we should get... Alright, now for our reference image, you can see kind of it's working on a reference image. These are optional improvements. You can sharpen HF and sharpen LF, and basically I think HF are the big points, big surface features, and LF are the really small micro surface features, and you can reduce the noise, change the luminosity. I usually don't touch anything here on this. There's really no need to. We can do all this later. Now I'm going to go ahead and click Analyze again, and this is where it's going to start to go through all those images and really analyze them. And it takes a little bit of time here But again, it depends on your PC, how much RAM, your GPU, and your CPU. Of course, if you probably have a desktop, it's going to zip right through it. If you have a laptop, it's going to take usually a little bit more time. So while it's going through here, and you can see we're already a little bit finished, but it's going to take some time, and rather than listen to me blab, I am going to just go ahead and come back once this is finished, and then we'll get going again. Okay, alright, that is finally finished. That took about, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes to do. Not too bad to analyze that. So you can see here, now we have our graph up, and we've got our best to worst images here on a percentage. Now there are 2 sliders you can adjust. That will change your stack size. You can adjust these up or down for your best images. There's a lot of different things to adjust here. I usually don't mess with this. I like to see what quality my images are. So I'm going to go ahead and click out of that. Now that we've got that done, analyzation done, now we have down here at the bottom part, we have what we're going to be stacking, the percentages, images to stack. So this is number 3. And you can see it's already at 25% of the best 50%. So it's going to take that stack, that entire stack, cut it in half, and it's going to take the best 25% of it and stack that. Now you can change this to whatever you want. If you want to change it, that's up to you. You can experiment with it. You see down here that equals out to 525 images out of 1,050. And if I want to adjust this, I can adjust this much lesser down to something like maybe say 20%, which is probably a decent starting point. It really depends on the quality of your data. You know, maybe around 20% would be a good starting point. 25% would be okay. You can always go back and do it again. So I'm going to put it at 20%, and then I'm going to come over here to number 4. So this is the stacking method, and you can see it's on global. Now I can use this globally, and it works really good. I can use this and not touch it, or I can do my own multi-points. So you click on multi-points here, and I can go ahead and I'm going to drop this down. Let's say we could put it on 48, and then I can click set, and you'll see just the points that it's put on the planet here. And if I want to condense that a little bit more so it's not so further out, I can come up here and click the negative, and I can bring this box in a little bit more, and then click set again, and you can see that it doesn't go so far out of the planet. You can experiment with these. They seem to work really similar, but if you're really meticulous about trying to get the best, probably using the multi-points is the best bet. So I'm just going to go ahead and roll with the 48 there and leave it at that. Now that that is set, I can come back down here into the stacking, actual stacking, and you can see align RGB channels is set. I have my output as a TIFF because that's what I want. It might be at PNG normally, but I want to use a TIFF for more post-processing. So once that is done, I can go ahead and click stack. As we are back, now that probably took about 3, 4, 5 minutes or so to do. So that took a little bit longer using the multi-points versus the global here. The global is much quicker, I noticed. Using multi-points takes a little bit longer, but it can really benefit most of the time using those multi-points. Alright, so here is our image. So you're going to get this box that has popped up, and what you can do is you can zoom in here if you want to have a look at your and you can move this to any size that you want and have a look at it. And let's just see, there is our stacked image. That's really nice and clean. Now you can check brighten here. You can also do brighten and darken the background, or you can brighten even more. Click reset to reset that, and you can invert. You can see all those different gas bands in there, all the different colors. And man, that is crazy looking at invert. How cool is that to be able to see that? All those different bands in there is just really awesome. Alright, let's reset that. Now, from here, now that that is done, we want to edit our stack. So you're going to click edit here, And yes, we want to close the analyze that is open, and that's going to bring up our stacked video here. And I'm just going to leave this open for future reference. So the first thing that I want to do, usually that I do, is I want to white balance this image. So right here, I'm going to come over to white balance, and you're going to get this box pop up. Now, I'm going to select an ROI, and it's going to automatically balance it once I select it. And you can see versus this color here, let me bring that back over. You can see versus this color and this color, it looks a lot more natural. There's a lot of blue in here. Now this could be because of the filter that I use, but it's good to white balance your images, and you can always click auto if you don't like it. See, an auto white balance will bring it back to what it was before, or if I just select this ROI and unclick, it will do it automatically. So I like this here. It looks much more natural, so I'm going to click OK on that. Alright, so from here, next I want to go into the wavelets, which is similar to Registack 6, and here is our wavelets. So once you click on that, it's going to bring up that box. Now I've used this previously, so there are some settings in here, and I'm just going to go ahead and click reset so everything is back to normal. Now don't forget, you're going to want to use an ROI for everything that you do here, so make sure you do click on an ROI like this here, and you can always zoom in or zoom out, up to you how much you want to see while you're doing this. So the first thing to start you have are your wavelets down here, wavelets HF and wavelets LF. Now LF, this one over here is going to be for the big features on the surface, and this one over here is going to be for the micro features on the surface. Now we also do have a noise pre-filter, which we will be using. Now you can see it's already on maximum here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with the large features over here. Now we want to pick our pixel size, and you can move this slider over, or you can just click up here, and I'm going to put it at a 5 to start. I think is probably good. And then I'm going to start to move this scale, the strength scale over, and as I'm watching my image, I want to see what it's doing, just how much, and if it's not enough on the strength, then what I can do is I can move this back down and go ahead and move this up to a few more, and then try it again and see what it's doing, and watch as those surface features come into play. If you're not seeing a whole lot of movement there, you can always adjust it a little bit more. You can even try 10, and you can start to slide it over and just kind of watch, and there we go. We're starting to get some of those bigger features really pop. So now I have that at a 10. I'm going to leave that there and just move this down, and let's try on the smaller features. Let's go to a 4, and let's just start to see what happens if we can start to bring out some of those micro features a little bit. And what you're going to notice is you're going to start to see it getting real grainy and noisy. So at this point, if you get here and you've over sharpened it a little bit, you want to take out some of that noise, come up here to your noise pre-filter, and you can just move it, start to move it over until it takes out some of that noise, and then come back down, and you can start to strengthen those micro features a little bit more and see what happens. Now we're only sharpening what's in the box here. If you want to check the entire planet, come over here to do all, and it will do the entire planet. Now you have to be careful for some of this ringing around the outside here. There are ways to work on that, and you have to adjust the noise accordingly, and you can start to adjust your noise here. And if this isn't enough, you can click it up a little bit more, maybe to a 7, and you can see we're starting to get a little bit of sharpening there, a little bit grainy. If it's too much, drop this down, and you can always adjust this slider over a little bit more. Come and click do all, and you can check it. Now at the bottom here there is another reduce noise, and this has many different types of noise filters here, from basic, and it goes up to adaptive, smoothing. You can try these and see what works for you. Just you can start to slide this over. If you don't want to use too much of this one, you can experiment with it, and that's one thing that's really good. Depending on the data that you have, you want to experiment and see where it takes you. So I've got this full power over here, and now let's see, I start to slide this down and lessen out the noise and just see what happens to my surface features. Let's go ahead and click do all, and that actually doesn't look too bad as it is there. And you can just really start to experiment with these. See, around the outside I was getting some ringing there. If I click the do all, and you can see I start to get a little bit of ringing on the outside there, so maybe I want to bring that down a little bit. Click do all, and let's just see what happens. I don't want to get a lot of that ring. I hate that ring actually. So what I'm going to do from here, let's just lower this down, and let's raise this up a little bit stronger here, and let's just see what happens. Strengthen that a little bit, and we're starting to get a little graininess in there, and now we can start to adjust some of these noise sliders. Click do all and have a look and see what that looks like. Now if you want to see the entire planet without this box here, you can go ahead and click do all and click OK, and there is our planet without the box. And if it's something you see you don't like, you can always come up here to undo and click back, and there is our unsharpened planet before. And if you do like it, you can click forward and you can really see what you're doing. And if you bring the wavelets back up again, it will still be the same as before. Just make sure to go ahead and click your ROI, because you always do have to have that. Now you see what happened was from doing that, I have to make sure I have to cancel here, and I do have to click out of that, and then bring up the wavelets again and click my ROI, and there we're back to where we were before. Alright, so maybe I can try to sharpen that just a little bit more. Let's see what happens here. Some of these larger features, and then let's strengthen a little some of these more smaller features. And if I strengthen it a little bit hard, I can start to see some of these features in there, but man, yeah, it looks a little noisy, right? So that's where I'm going to come in here and use this adaptive sharpening and try to smooth that out just a little bit more. I'm going to click do all, and just experimenting with this and trying different things to see where it takes you. That's really important. And if that looks really good actually where it's at, I did click do all, and now what I can do here is I can drop the gamma down a little bit and kind of give it those colors a little bit darker. Let's click and see do all, what that looks like on the entire planet, and that actually helped a little bit, kind of not so bright, brought out some of those features a little bit more. Again, you can work on this sharpening here, and you can just go back and forth between it and see what looks the best, and try to avoid the ring, as much ringing as possible. But we actually got quite a bit of nice features there that looks really good, and I can always try to give it just a touch more sharpening and see what happens with it. Go ahead, click do all. Alright, wow, that actually looks pretty good. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click OK on that, and let's have a look. And in comparison, I'm going to bring this stacked image that was just stacked with no sharpening, and let's go ahead and bump this up in size and see here. Let me drop that down a little bit, and we'll make this one a little smaller. And let's just kind of compare here. You can see before our stacked image, our color balance was done, and you can see over here we can see some of these fine features. I'll go ahead and zoom in on that. You can see the difference is quite large. We can see a lot of those gas bands in there. You can see some of the micro features in here. So we've done quite a bit of sharpening, and again, don't overdo it. You can always work on that noise a little bit more. If, say, now you've got it to this point, there's also, you can use this sharpen here, which is a normal sharpen, and basically you can fine tune it with this a lot of times. Now over here, what I'll do is I'll click on this coarse noise first, and then you have your pixel scale, which is already at a 1, and I'll leave it at a 1, and I'll just start to bring this, don't forget ROI, guys, ROI, Dan. And then we'll just start to bring it over a little bit and see if this doesn't help a little bit. And if I get to a point where, yeah, it starts to look a little grainy, a little whatever, then I will bring this here noise filter over just a touch and see if we can't get that to smooth out a little bit. Click do all, have a look at it and see. We do have some ringing on the outside here. Unfortunately, a lot of that can't be helped, but just be real careful with it. Maybe drop it down a little bit, or drop the pixel size down a little bit, and you can check it from there. Click do all. Now you don't have to do this fine-tuning here. You can do it and finish in a Photoshop or whatever software you're using. PixInsight if you're using Pix, GIMP, whatever. A lot of times I'll bring this over to Photoshop and finish it off there, but you can do it right here. Again, you can work on your gamma. You want to lower that gamma, or you want to brighten that image up a little bit more, or if you're not sure, just click the 1. It will reset it back to normal. So I can drop that gamma down a little bit and have a look at it, and let's see. There we go. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Starting to see some of the color ranges there pop out. So not too much, not overdone too much. Just remember, don't overdo it, and just tinker with it and see where it gets you. But overall, I think this looks pretty good right here. So I'm going to click OK. And if we compare these, you can see here our stacked versus our finished image. Now, from here, maybe you want to do some saturation, and we have a saturation box here. And again, make sure you click an ROI and bring up pretty much the entire planet there. And I can just start to bring over this saturation and see where that takes me. Maybe, I'm at a 20 there. I can click do all, have a check, and see what that looks like. That's not too bad, actually. Maybe we could try to go a little bit more and just see what happens. And you can adjust the brightness down here, and you have a color noise. If you don't like the noise from the color, you can try to adjust that a little bit and see what happens. Click do all, smooth that out maybe a little bit. Now if you like it, go ahead, click OK, and that looks pretty good for just those few adjustments that we did here in AstroSurface. There's a lot of tools up here that are available to use. I just used the basic tools here, but that's a really nice image. We start to see the definition on those gas bands, and if you want to, you can also come up here to gain RGB, and again click an ROI, and you can adjust your reds. Say you want it a little bit more red, a little bit less red. You can bring those reds down and start to bring out some of these other colors here. See, we just green. I don't like the greens. I'm actually going to reset it and leave the green normal. Let's see, bring out some of those blues a little bit more. Maybe you like that a little bit. Really up to you. What do you like? Click reset if you're not sure. Reset. Not so red, maybe just a touch down on the red, and click do all and see what happens. Again, I'm going to click OK. I think that looks good. So if I don't go back and check, go forward, yeah, that looks better. Alright, so simple. There's a lot of tools, a lot of simple tools here to use, and just you can really experiment. There's a lot of tools up top here to experiment with. There's different levels, tabs you can work with. There's a ton of stuff to use here. That is a pretty good image of Jupiter. Excuse me. That is a pretty good image of Jupiter from just what we've done here in this tutorial. I did it really quick. Now my finished image maybe is a little more sharper, a little bit better. I've taken mine over to Photoshop and tweaked it even more. But this is a really smooth and clean image. We can see a lot of those gas pockets in here, a lot of these points, images, and gas bands. And again, you can invert it, and you can see all the different gas bands, which is really, really cool. I mean, how awesome is that? We brought that out a ton. I'll click reset. And yeah, there's just so many different tools to use here in AstroSurface. It's really great to have everything in one program, and that's an awesome image for this tutorial. I don't know about you, but I'm stoked with that. That's really nice. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to keep that. So what I want to do now is I'm going to come up here to Files and then click Save As. Now make sure you're in the file that you want it to be in, and wherever you want to save it, up to you. I'm in my Jupiter opposition file. So you can see here's our file. You can rename it anything you want, and you can save it as whatever you want. I'm going to keep it as a TIFF so I can take it into Photoshop and maybe finish it up, or you can put it as a PNG if you want to use that for posting online. You can save it on whatever you want, up to you. I'm going to save it as a TIFF. Go ahead and click Save. So it says saved. Okay, it is there. I know it's done. And again, here is our stacked image of our planet of Jupiter into this, and that came out really, really nice. How awesome is that? We did it all with nothing but our smartphone in our telescope. That is really what Smartphone Astro is all about, getting images like this. This is one of my best of Jupiter ever. I am really stoked, guys. Again, everything depends on the conditions that you're imaging in, the equipment that you're using, and then of course the processing. So I hope these videos were helpful. This is part 2, how to process Jupiter. I hope these programs will help you in your adventure to get images like this. This is a great image. I'm stoked to have something like this, and again, we did it all with our smartphone. How cool is that? So alright guys, well, that's going to finish up this video in this series on Jupiter at opposition, how to image and process the planet Jupiter. Again, I hope these videos were helpful. Please hit the like button. If you have any comments down below in the comments section, I'll be more than glad to help you or direct you in the right direction. And again, guys, thank you for watching. A lot coming from Deep Sky Dan soon. My next video series will be with the SV Bony 70 ED doublet refractor. I'm going to be doing 4 major DSOs with that, showing you guys how I do it, how to image it, and maybe a little bit of processing to get you guys going. It doesn't take a big telescope like Edge HD that I have. I've got that from Saboni. They wanted to see what I can do, and I'm going to show you guys some really cool targets this coming season. So I hope you're excited. Be on the lookout for those. Thank you for watching again, guys. I hope everyone was able to get out, get video on Jupiter, and do processing in PIPP and AstroSurface. Alright, we'll see you guys again next time. Clear skies, everybody. Take care.